now at 5, tracking more storms. I'll have the latest with radar and update the threat of severe weather in your forecast.
Using a student ID to vote, the win for Indiana college students and the response from those who disagree with the federal judge's ruling.
And a coffee and pastry shop is cleaning up after an early morning burglary. The moments caught on camera and what's making it even harder for them to bounce back from the loss.
A new settlement. We have the money that a central Indiana school district will now be paying a former counselor.
And why both sides are claiming victory in this case.
Good evening. We do start tonight at 5 o'clock with breaking news. Some big traffic tie-ups on the north side right now.
That's where a cut gas line has shut down several lanes of I-465. And we're hearing now those roads may not reopen until 7 o'clock.
Havoc for the evening rush tonight. This is a live look at the backup it's causing right now from all angles. It all started around 11:30 this morning. That's when an auger, we're told, hit a gas line. It's expected to continue throughout the night tonight. So certainly if you are in this area, you do want to reroute and tell everyone exactly where this is happening.
Yeah, so we have been monitoring this all morning, all afternoon. Westbound I-465 was shut down at US 31, along with southbound US 31 to 465.
And then eastbound I-465 down to one lane, and then Spring Mill Road over I-465 on the north side was shut down in both directions. So a lot of big tie-ups there on the north side around I-465. Also tonight, developing some tracking storms that could impact central Indiana. Here's a look at radar right now. You can see they're not quite here just yet, but they could be a threat later tonight as the hours tick on.
Angela's in the Weather Center tonight tracking these. And could they turn severe, Angela?
Felicia and Anne-Marie, yes, they could turn severe. We remain under that threat of severe weather. Right now, no watches, no warnings. We continue to watch radar and continue to watch some storms moving in. We can actually see that from one of our cameras in Greene County. You can see the dark skies over Linton. That is a live view in Greene County of some of the storms that are starting to impact the southwestern part of our area at this point. We also have dry conditions in Connorsville, a mix of sun and clouds as expected. We've had some pop-up showers and storms today, but we've also had a lot of dry time. We take you live to Bloomington, where temperatures right now are in the low 80s, 81. We have 78 in Indianapolis and 75 degrees in Crawfordsville. Here's a vantage point with radar showing you those storms that we showed you live from our camera in Greene County. Not a lot of lightning with these at this point, but some heavy rain now moving into western Greene County, also into portions of Clay and Owen counties. We will continue to watch this, and we're keeping an eye on additional storms that continue to develop out to our west. Tornado watches lined up out to our west. But as I mentioned, no watches or warnings locally, but we stay under the threat of severe weather tonight. Much more to cover in the full forecast.
Thanks, Angela. And you can now stream our new live local radar 24/7.
Check the forecast and watch the storm as it rolls in anytime around the clock.
Stream now on WTHR Plus. It is free.
5:02, and a federal judge is now making it a whole lot easier for students to go cast their ballot and to vote here in Indiana.
So here's what happened. His ruling essentially means a student ID is enough to cast a ballot. So you might remember state lawmakers last year voted to change the ID requirements, and that led to lawsuits and this new ruling.
Ella Rhodes joins us now live in studio to explain a little bit more about what this ruling means and lifting this ban for our young voters.
Yes, so the judge's decision essentially protects around 40,000 student voters, according to the court's decision. Now, when those students show up to the polls, they can use their valid student ID as identification.
At the polls, students can now show their public university IDs as voter identification, the same as how military ID, Native American tribe IDs, and passports work too. Before Tuesday, that wasn't the case for students in Indiana.
Why are they being singled out for a change in the law? But not some of these other groups. And that's where the judge looks at that equal protection argument.
Last summer, a law that banned students from using their student ID as voter identification went into effect. One IU student, along with 2 other organizations, sued the state in May 2025, saying the law was an unconstitutional burden. A federal judge agreed on Tuesday. He found the law violates the First and 14th Amendments.
The state has provided no evidence that these IDs are being used to commit voter fraud or are posing an actual security risk. And so then that raises the specter of it becoming a voter suppression initiative rather than a security initiative.
Josh Montag, the student in the lawsuit, voted Wednesday with his student ID. He told 13 News, "I have voted in Indiana 3 times using my student ID because I don't have an Indiana driver's license or other qualifying ID. Senate Bill 10 singles out students like me. Students are not a threat to election integrity." Marion County Clerk Kate Sweeney Bell held a meeting with poll workers Wednesday morning to let them know they can now accept student IDs again.
We are toward the bottom of the pack when it comes to voter turnout. And to put any barrier in place for those who otherwise would be eligible and entitled to vote does not make sense.
Bell encourages young voters to turn out.
Now they've got the opportunity, if they want their voice heard, now they're not going to have to jump through additional hoops.
This isn't the last stop for the case. The Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita says they intend to appeal the decision.
The judge's decision went into immediate effect. We did also reach out to the office of Indiana Secretary of State Diego Morales, but we have not heard back.
All right, Ella, thank you so much. And Indiana's voter laws have been at the center of national debate for years.
In fact, Indiana's voter ID law made it to the U.S. Supreme Court back in 2008. And since then, a lot of states have introduced and some have passed voter ID bills. 23 states now require photo IDs. Another 12 ask for an ID, but don't require it to be a photo ID. Now, supporters of voter ID bills have long argued that they cut down on voter fraud by requiring identification.
Opponents say there was no evidence of widespread voter fraud before the voter ID laws. They say they exist to discourage voting from groups like college students who traditionally vote for Democrats.
Indiana's primary election is coming up in just a few weeks, Tuesday, May 4th. And there are some key dates you may want to put in your calendar. Early voting is already underway. You can vote in person through noon on Monday, May 4th. Check with your county clerk for the hours and locations. But every county will have some voting location open on Saturdays, April 25th and May 2nd. Anyone can vote early in person. You do not need a specific reason. But if you want to vote absentee by mail, you do have to check off a specific reason why you can't get to the poll on Election Day. The deadline to request that ballot is April 23rd at 11:59 p.m. And your completed ballot must be returned to the clerk's office by 6 p.m. on Election Day. And the big day itself, Election Day, Tuesday, May 5th. Polls will be open from 6 to 6. To find out where you can vote in your particular county, check with your county clerk's office, or you can head to WTHR.com/politics.
Tonight, Metro Police are investigating after someone smashed a glass door and stole from a coffee shop on the northwest side.
One of the owners tells our Jenna Webster, he's not sure why they were targeted.
MOTW Coffee and Pastries was able to get the door fixed within hours. The burglary happened just before 3:30 this morning, and they wanted to be open for customers.
There's no window there at all, no glass.
This was what employees of the 38th Street coffee shop walked up to this morning. Broken glass all over the floor. Inside, the cash register open and empty.
I hope nobody's hurt. That was the first thing that came. I hope our baristas are safe. I hope nothing happened to any customers because I didn't know exactly when it happened. I just saw the picture and then my mind just started racing.
Shamas Niazi checked their security cameras and saw the aftermath of the overnight burglary. You can see someone leaving through the broken door. MOTW isn't sure just how much money was stolen. They estimated $300 for the police report. It's not good news for any small business.
We face the same issues that the consumer faces. You know, we see the prices of groceries have gone up, and the same thing holds true with our product. And so it's a really tough economy.
MOTW is just grateful the burglary didn't turn out any worse. On the northwest side, Jenna Webster, 13 News.
MOTW Coffee and Pastries says none of its neighboring businesses were burglarized last night.
Tonight, nearly 24 people are under arrest following a narcotics warrant roundup that occurred in Johnson County. The sheriff's office and also Franklin police made the arrest just this morning. The suspects in the cases are accused of selling illegal narcotics to undercover detectives.
A former high school counselor will receive almost $200,000 in a settlement of her federal lawsuit against the school district.
The teacher is Kathy McCord, and she filed the lawsuit after she was fired in 2023 in a dispute over the school's gender support plan. Rich Nye is here with reaction from both sides and some details of that settlement.
So a settlement means that neither side won, but both sides are claiming some measure of victory in this case that took about 3 years to resolve. Kathy McCord was a counselor at Pendleton Heights High School. She objected on religious grounds to the school's gender support plan, which at the time allowed students to change their name and pronoun without parents being informed or giving consent. The school board said they fired McCord because she lied about giving the school's plan to an online publication. She sued to get her job back and for damages.
For Kathy to stand up and say, this is what this school district is requiring me to do to keep my job, even though I have a religious objection to it, really, I think, shined a spotlight on these key parental rights questions that schools were just disregarding.
The settlement pays McCord $195,000 for damages, attorney's fees, and cost. The South Madison School Corporation says the court already ruled in favor of the school district last year that McCord's First Amendment rights were not violated. And as for the remaining claims, a statement says the school corporation chose to settle to avoid the significant time, expense, and disruption of continued litigation and to allow the district to remain focused on serving students. The district has not admitted any wrongdoing, and the court made no findings of liability against the district. McCord had worked for the South Madison Community School Corporation for more than 20 years. She retired after she was fired.
All right, Rich Nye reporting this afternoon. Thank you. Developing tonight, Clinton County counselors are calling for the sheriff and jail matron to resign from their positions immediately. And it follows Sheriff Richard Kelly and his wife, Ashley Kelly's appearances in a Marion County courtroom this week. The two are facing various charges, including fraud and misconduct. Prosecutors say they lied to Indiana State Police to collect around $50,000 in disability payments. They're also accused of misusing jail commissary funds in a separate case. The counselors want them to resign immediately in order to, quote, restore confidence and accountability within the jail and sheriff's office.
Coming up, severe weather reported across the country.
The tornadoes caught on camera and the damage they caused.
No watches or warnings locally right now, but I am tracking rain and storms across central Indiana. I'll update our severe threat in your forecast.
Today is the deadline for Indiana's FAFSA, the application that helps families figure out how to pay for college or trade school. Ahead, I'll tell you what's the deal with why you want to do your best to get it done right now.